Hello, it is me, Pearl, from Pearl and the Prayers, and this is Tuned in Pearl, and we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine energy inside of self, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us in our interactions with others, in our external environment, and if we want to see change, we do need to shift and change the energy within. And in that shifting process, we do need to internally shift to a state where we are no longer emotionally dependent upon the outcomes we're seeking. That is key to being able to actually change what's going on around you. You have to not need it. You have to not want it. And it's kind of a paradox of the sorts. Hopefully, I can give you the insight you need that will help you to shift into that state so that you can have the changes that you're really deserving of come forward into your life. Okay, we're going to do the general week ahead reading right now. We're looking at the general energy of the masculine, the general energy of the feminine. We look at the masculine energy as the energy of the mind, the intellect, action, going, doing, giving. The energy of the feminine as the energy of the heart, the emotions, creativity, receptivity, passivity. And both of these energies can be found reflected back to you in the person that you may come to these readings to get information about. But this reading is also meant to give you insight into what's going on with you financially, what's going on in your other relationships in your life, and not just with a person. Although if you are in that hyper-focused state right now, you'll be able to get what you need from this reading about your person. If you're in a hyper-focused state on your person, I'm just going to put it out there that you are unlikely to be able to create a situation where that person does communicate directly with you because you need them to. So when you don't need them to, when you can just be and act as if they are already communicating with you, it is highly likely that that will be the time when you will see that change. Okay, so the overall energy for Divine Masculine this week is this Two of Wands card from my Ostara Tarot. Technically, this is a springtime deck, but I always like it at this time of year. The colors also go really well with my nails, which I'm still obsessed with after, I think this will be the second week that I've had these. This is an interesting deck. The imagery for the cards is so divergent from most of the normal imagery that we see. And we're also going to be using the Prisma Visions Tarot in the feminine. Give you a preview right here. So two very different decks, and decks that deviate from the traditional way. And so I'm just noticing that, and I think that this week may really deviate from the way that things have always gone for you. Whatever has been traditional, whatever has been the same way, however you have looked at something in the same way, I see a huge perspective shift, a way to see things differently. And I think that that is something that's going on just as a general rule in this week, but for the masculine energy in particular, he's seeing this feminine energy with a bird cage over her head, holding a bird, and the door to the cage is open. It's also clear that she could simply lift this cage off of her head. So it's in that way making me think of an Eight of Swords type of an energy where there is a person at the center of the card who has a blindfold on. In this case, she can see. She has her arms loosely tied, and there are these swords around her. And the implication of that card is that the person is trapped in a prison of their own thinking, and it's truly of their own making, and they would be able to easily remove the binding that is keeping them there and step out of that box. So this card isn't that card at all. It's the Two of Wands, and the Two of Wands is usually about asking for something and having to wait to see change, which we talked about today. I put a little bit of a twist on the end of my intro, and I'm probably going to keep that because it's something that I have learned over the last few years. So we're already starting off this reading with a new way of looking at the divine masculine and feminine energy. But it is a card about asking and waiting and feeling this restlessness. You're doing a lot of planning, you're doing strategizing, trying to create that change, trying to get that thing that you desired with the Ace of Wands, which you might remember came up in Friday's love reading. And of course, I will be doing the members only deep dive into the Thoth Tarot cards from Friday's reading and today's reading. I will be doing that tomorrow, and I did one last week. If you want additional healing, additional support, subscribe to passes.com/pearlsprayers, and you'll have access to all of those extended readings that are meant to really help you shift. So this masculine energy is actually seeing that this feminine energy is open to communication. The bird represents communication for me. The door open represents an opening. That there is this window that he may be able to go through to communicate with feminine energy. Now, if we're looking at that in terms of a relationship, quite simply, the person you're focused on is thinking there may be a window of opportunity to communicate with you, which is something he's really desired to do. He's tried to figure out how to get that window to open. He's tried to do all of these things to make it happen. And really, it's just kind of happened naturally by him shifting his perspective. Before, it was actually his prison of his thinking that he couldn't speak to you, or he or she, they, whatever, the gender is irrelevant. But this idea that they could not speak to you before. And now they're realizing, no, wait, if I look at things differently, really I could speak the whole time. And it was my own way of looking at the situation that made it seem like I could not. So that's a big revelation that's happening for this masculine energy. This could be a situation where this person thought they had to say specific things to you. They had to talk about specific things. There's this awareness that's like, we could talk about anything. Like, I don't have to necessarily start from, I'm sorry, and this big dramatic conversation. It can literally be like more of a, let's exchange stories. Let's talk to each other. Let's just know one another and enjoy one another, and let those more intense, deeper conversations develop as I'm sure they will once we just start communicating. That's really the energy I'm getting. How this would apply to you in terms of like career or finance is that you yourself are seeing a window of opportunity here to look at things differently, to stop trying to plan and strategize and figure out how to get to the Three of Wands, and to just be open to many choices and many possibilities, many ways of arriving there, which is a really beautiful energy. Now, the thing is, the feminine energy is really feeling happy about this. We have the Sun card, which again, this is from the Prisma Visions deck, and is a really unusual depiction of the sun. Everything is melting, but it looks really beautiful when all of these things sort of melt together. I've been doing vitamin D sessions at the risk of skin cancer. I don't know. I'm just like, my vitamin D is so low. What's better? Like, what's better? I don't know. Like, I can't even decide. So I've just been doing these vitamin D sessions with an app called D-Minder. And obviously I'm careful not to burn my skin and my skin burns really quickly, but the app has been helping me. And also, am I not the whitest person in the world? Like, I literally have spent 15 to 20 minutes a couple times a day in the sun for the last 2 weeks, and I literally still have no color. Like, I just cannot. I'm glad I'm not burnt. That's usually what happens to me. But it's been feeling really good. My vitamin D levels are slowly creeping up. It's taking a really long time because that's honestly not enough sun exposure to really have it increase quickly, but it's a cumulative process. So the more frequently you do it, the better it gets. Now we're heading into fall and soon winter, so I don't know how far I'll get before that happens, but maybe I'll get a UV lamp or something. I don't know. But it's been making me feel good. It feels so good to be in the sun, and it's making me nostalgic, and that's this feeling I'm getting for the feminine energy. The times in life when you played outside and just enjoyed the sun and just had fun and you didn't want to go inside. You wanted to just stay outside all day or swim in the swimming pool. That's something I loved to do when I was a kid. And anytime I had to take a break, come in for lunch or, get out of the sun, whatever it was, I would be like, oh, Mom, can I stay longer? And so it's interesting because what I'm getting this week is the feminine energy is quite happy to be where she is. She feels good here. And that's without seeing reality shift, right? Because we see here with the Two of Wands is where we start. Basically, we have the Ace of Wands, which is I have this desire, and the Two of Wands is like, okay, how do I get it? I want this, now what? What do? I want to do this, I want to do that. And that's kind of where we start this entire process. We associate this card with soulmates and the twin flame journey. A lot of us end up here in these readings from those types of connections and relationships. And so it's like, really, we're still here. We're still waiting for this to unfold. But for some reason, we feel content. We feel happiness. And if you're not quite there yet, on your journey, you might be seeing this reading to understand where it is that you would be going if you were to internally shift to that state where you're not emotionally dependent upon outcome. So this looks like a very happy week. Whether you see a fulfillment of what it is you've asked for or not, still happy. Another meaning for the Two of Wands can be a crossroads, a point where there's a point of intersection where things kind of bring two disparate elements together. What seemed like you were running parallel actually does come to a point in the future where you intersect. And this week could be about that intersection, and that actually makes you feel quite happy. Underlying the divine masculine's feelings of a window of opportunity here, we have the Ten of Pentacles, which is all that abundance, all that material prosperity, everything within your grasp, which is what I'm thinking about with this octopus. Sometimes I think about this octopus as this very clinging energy, the energy of clinging to something, the material or whatever. But I actually saw this video of an octopus this morning, like it was a short that was on, came up in my YouTube feed, that showed this octopus coming and like embracing the feet of this person who was standing in the water, and then that person like kind of just pet the octopus like on their head and one of their arms, and it wasn't being aggressive, it wasn't like trying to wrap them in a really firm embrace or anything. It was just sort of a light, gentle embrace, and then it just backed off and swam away. And it was really interesting. And I keep seeing things about octopi, so I should look up the symbolism of them. Because of the 8 legs, I think of spiders also in patience. Octopi are very, very, very intelligent, very smart, clever. They can get out of a lot of situations. But regardless, what's underlying the energy of this week is all the prosperity and all the abundance experienced in the material. And there are these little babies that are half human, half octopi, and they are hugging this one large... It's so interesting that I literally saw octopus hug video today, and that's coming up here. So very important for me. I'm going to go look that up. Maybe you should look that up too. What the octopus symbolizes. But for me, what it immediately made me think of was what I said, that everything is within your grasp, that there is this understanding, there is this window of opportunity for everything that you have really wanted to create here. It's within your grasp. Like you can reach out and touch it right now. That's the feeling, the underlying energy of this week. For the divine feminine, no differently, we have a 10 of Wands. So that's a 10-10. So there is definitely something coming to completion this week. Now, the magic of the 10 of Wands is that a burden is suddenly lifted once somebody realizes that they've been carrying a burden and puts it down. This can be the idea that you're getting help, support. It can also be when somebody has a lot on their mind or a lot on their chest and they need to get it off their chest. They need to spit it out. They need to say the words. They need to communicate or express. And they're finally just like, okay, I've exhausted all means of continuing this silence and I just can't anymore. And so I'm just going to put it all out there. Another meaning, especially because of the imagery of this card, might be difficult to see, but there's a leg here and there is a head here. So there is actually a person who is making their way through this dark forest. And the only light is coming from the energy that passes through all of the wands cards in this suit, in this particular deck. And there's culmination energy. So if they were lost, now they're found. Like they're finally getting help to get out of the forest. I just watched the movie The Watchers the other night, and I'm thinking of that movie. If you haven't seen it, maybe you're supposed to see that for a reason. It is a horror movie. It's a little silly, but I enjoyed it mostly. The end, I was kind of like, okay, American horror is American. Truly American. They always just like wrap things up in a nice little bow for you, which makes it not scary anymore. But you know, it was interesting. So you might want to watch that because that definitely had something to do with being lost in a forest, and maybe there's some underlying meaning there for you. Okay, so what are we carrying in from last week? We went from the 2 to the 3 of wands. That's also three wand cards have appeared, and this is the 3 of wands. So that's pretty impressive to me, and it's coming up with the 7 of pentacles. Now, both of these cards have similar meanings, and they have to do with patience, waiting for something. Now, for the masculine energy, we're seeing this frog, which is giving me a feeling of leaping. It's interestingly, it is looking like it's fishing with this wand, with a fishing rod that has been formed from 3 wands bound together. And what it's catching are these 3 ships that are coming in. And that's the meaning usually of this card, is you ask for what it is that you desire in the 2 of wands. And then in the 3 of wands, you can actually see those ships coming in now. And you can settle into that. And you feel a sense of patience because it's within your grasp, right? You can see it. It's within reach. It's no longer eluding you. And so you feel relatively content because you feel some faith happening. Now, the 7 of Pentacles is all about things being ready for harvest. We're literally moving right into a season of harvest. Blessed Mabon for those who celebrate. Today is the equinox, and we literally are changing into the fall months right now. So this is what we were anticipating last week. This is also a sense of anticipating all of that abundance that we have been working on or accruing. We're actually having access to it. So last week there was this sense of like, I have faith that what the seeds that I have planted are going to bear fruit, and I'm going to be able to get them and have them. And so, I'm seeing you were very patient last week, and you've carried that energy into this week, and it's serving you well because now we see that you're getting this week that 10 of Pentacles, which is the ultimate harvest, right? It's everything that you've desired. In the current energy for the masculine, I cannot make it up, is the 7 of Pentacles. And in the energy for the feminine, we have the Reverie card and the 7 of Pentacles. So there we have that matching energy, and that did happen in the reading on Friday as well. There was a couple of synchronicities like that. The Reverie card is a singular card that is a part of the Prismavisions Tarot. It is after the World card, which would be the final major arcana card in this deck, or in all tarot decks. And there's this card added with the question mark. And we see this person is in a boat, and there's another person with this harp, and it appears to be that they're serenading them. I'm just noticing the flowers, these particular type of flowers. I don't know exactly what they're supposed to be, but for some reason that seems significant to me. They are blue, so if you've been looking for a blue flower as a sign or symbol, that might be important to see them. They're all down here. So Very interesting. So the current energy of this week is, again, what we expected to be harvesting. It is being harvested, but we have this feeling of being uncertain about what it will actually mean for us. And we do see there's this whole raccoon family here. Or are they badgers? Might be badgers, actually. I think they're badgers. But there's an entire family there, and there's like an uncertainty about what exactly maybe you're going to get. Like, you planted the seeds, but what have the seeds grown into? What have they blossomed into? The feeling, though, is of getting a return on your investment, because with the Six of Pentacles, what you put in, you get back. But with the Seven of Pentacles, what you've put in, you get back even more. So you're getting a return on the investment that you've made this week. The Reverie is also giving me a dreamlike feeling. And so it's like everything you've been dreaming of, but maybe you've had so many things that you've been dreaming of that you're not sure exactly which thing is going to unfold. I actually have a sense that what might unfold will be very unexpected. Something you couldn't necessarily even prepare for entirely, because it's because of that window of opportunity and allowing yourself to be open to the idea that there might be something even greater out there for you, and you might have the opportunity to experience it in a much different way this week. If we do nothing, if we stay exactly as we are, if we don't learn anything new in the next few days as this week unfolds, if we remain completely as is, where can we expect this week to take us? We have the Knight of Pentacles coming out here for the masculine energy, and the Seven of Wands coming out here for the feminine energy. So the feeling I'm getting from that is the slow and steady movement, the careful and precise movement we're getting in this card, which this is a very interesting way to depict the Seven of Wands. Typically, the Seven of Wands can be about standing your ground, pushing back against opposing forces. But for me, the light in the card is recognizing that there is no one actually pushing back, because when you look at the card, it's uncertain whether there's anyone actually holding the Six Wands that the person who's holding the one wand is like fighting off against. And so the lesson of that card is that, and the Six of Wands represents success. So the lesson of that card is that sometimes you take a stand against yourself and against your own success. And sometimes you fight off your own success or victory by being stubbornly fixed on a specific desire. You cause there to be a lack of movement. And typically we do that because we avoid receiving what it is we desire. Like, this person is trying to avoid their emotions, with which we're assuming the water here is representing emotion. And look, there's darkness and there's light. It's not just one feeling, it's all feelings. And they're trying so hard to avoid their feelings that they are leaping from the tips of these branches, when really all they would need to do, which would be much simpler, is if they just immersed themselves in the water and swam to the shore and walked upon the shore, or swam where they needed to go. But they're really going out of their way to avoid feelings or emotions. And this can be a defensive energy. It can be like defending yourself against this slow moving energy, trying to steel yourself because it's still going to take longer. There's the feelings of things are still going to take longer. So those are some of the shadowy energies I'm seeing. But I want to note that whereas all of the dark branches here in this card looked very intimidating, all of the trees here are white. So there's this light that's coming from this movement. So there, you there might be some things that unfold this week that are still requiring patience. And your best opportunity to get through those feelings is to, rather than try to avoid them, is to just go into the feelings and say, why do I need this to change so much? Why do I still need, in what way am I still emotionally dependent upon this interaction that I'm having with this person, or my finances changing? What is still limiting me? Because the need for something to change is literally keeping me from seeing the change. So that's some of the questions you might want to ask yourself this week about the energy. Now, from a positive perspective, we know that there's an opening here. There's a window of opportunity. There's a point of paths crossing. We know that there is enlightenment here. There's this enlightenment about that window. There's a feeling of happiness and contentment and playful energy. We know that what's underlying this week is finally having support or a burden taken away because of whatever material abundance is coming through or whatever physical changes are happening. So when we see this Knight of Pentacles and the Seven of Wands, it's not necessarily saying we're not going to see what it is that we desire this week. It's saying that perhaps what we're being brought is a bit of a test, which is just simply that if you can hold fast to really believing that you have what it is that you are seeking, the universe may throw you those two tests. Number one, things get worse before they get better. And number two, nothing is changing. And you have to fight off the urge to go back to the way that you behaved before because you're not seeing anything change. Neuro Knowledge just put out a video today that might help you. That's called How Do I Know If My Frequency is Changing, or something like that. I think that's what it's called. Let me see. I was just watching it. It's I should probably just link it. I can link it below. The Undeniable Signs Your Frequency is Changing. You might want to watch that because I feel like there's some insight in that video for you, particularly about this week's energy. Now, I personally have no fear. I don't need things to change to feel good. I feel good. Even I've had grief this summer, loss of income. I've probably been making the least I've ever made doing this work that fills me with so much joy and so much passion, and I do it anyway. Because I don't do it for the money, I do it for my soul. And I feel really pretty good. I feel like I actually don't need things to change. And when they do change, it's just pleasant. That's where I'm at right now. So I think once you get into that energy, you really can have, somebody just said, thanks for sharing, because I had sent them that video I just was talking about. That's such a confirmation. So I think once you get into this energy, you'll see what we're talking about. You'll see that, like, there is the old version of you that you really, I was just talking to somebody about thoughts about unaliving themselves. We were talking about those type of thoughts. And I said I had learned once that those thoughts are about wanting to unalive the part of yourself that feels the way you do. Not your whole being, not your whole self, not your whole life, because you do have attachments in this life. You do have pleasure and joy that comes from being in this life. So the part of you that you want to go away is the part of you that is persisting with this perspective that things are bad, life is bad, nothing is good. Like, that is the part of you that you want to off. And you're welcome to end that part of you. And it's actually much easier if you have support in doing that, because it's really just a way of thinking that is keeping you in that feeling. And I know, because I've been there many times. Many times. All right, let's get the advice for the week going forward. We have The expectation card coming out again. Didn't we get this card recently? I feel like we did. I love the color of this card. Expectation number 32. Expectation is the root of all heartbreak. This is making me think of the Reverie card with the question mark. That's coming up for me. Expecting others to perform a certain way so that you can be comfortable or happy is a form of bondage. Your demands hold others hostage and imprison your own joy. Nothing and no one can release you from that prison but you. Your well-being, satisfaction, peace, and bliss are solidly up to you. That doesn't mean you can't hold others accountable for the mutual agreements both of you make. It does mean that you can't expect others to behave in any particular way just to make you happy. Happiness is an inside job. If you want to live with its splendors, you must keep the focus inside. Internally shifting. That's bringing us right back to that lesson. It is time to take action. New moon in Aries. This might be significant for timing because the new moon is fast approaching. It is time to take action. The flame is lit. A wonderful new start beckons, and you're on the right track. Drawing this card is a superbly positive sign. If there is something you want to happen in your life, take this card as a big yes from the universe. This is the time to really tune into your dreams. You may still have a long way to go. After all, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, but you're on your way. Determination, self-assertion, and bravery are all called for. But the hot fire of Aries is driving you towards success in whatever endeavor you're asking about. The caution: don't go too fast and forget your manners. Treat people well as you charge towards your goals. You'll create much better karma for yourself. To attune to the moon, don't even think about giving up. So if you've been at this point where you're like, ugh, I'm doing all this work, I'm doing all this meditation, I'm writing my journal, I'm visualizing, I'm affirming, I'm doing yoga, I'm eating well, I'm doing all these things and nothing is changing. Remember, don't give up. That is actually a sign that things are changing, that when you get the sense that nothing is changing. That's one of the last tests before you see the big stuff shift and change. The additional meanings for this card are: do your best and be happy with that. Avoid being brash right now. You need a 12-month plan. A new male is coming into your life. It specifically says male. You might want to change that to masculine gendered, or masculine, masculine gendered, like they choose that as their external persona. The teaching: Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, so the new moon in Aries is the first of the 12 or 13 new moons of the year. If you're committed to working with all the lunations, then the new moon in Aries is the right time to start. And drawing this card, no matter when you do it, signifies it is also the ideal time to start your moon work, such as setting intentions. So if you have never done a moon cycle ritual, the new moon, which is coming up very soon, is the time of setting intentions. Then the full moon is a time of releasing anything that you're holding on to that's blocking you, and opening up to accept or receive the culmination of the intentions that you set for the new moon. And new moon is not necessarily a time where you're sitting down and writing. It can be more of a time where you're just receiving ideas about what intentions you want to have. Everybody celebrates that differently. So do what feels best for you, because there is no right way to do it. Okay, the final card for this reading from the Thoth Tarot is none other than the Knight of Discs, or the Knight of Pentacles. It's called the Prince in this deck, but this deck has the Prince and Princess. Let's see. Thoth Tarot Readings. So thothreadings.com. Can I ever get that right? Thothreadings.com is one of the places you can go and find this card and the questions that it asks if you want to write them down in your journal. Remember, I do the extended reading on Monday, responding to both of the Thoth Tarot cards that I pulled from the week before. I'm just looking. Where is this? The Knight. Okay, here we go. The Prince of the Chariot of Earth. The Prince of Discs represents the air in the element of Earth. He is stable and industrious and also thoughtful and inventive when it comes to improve matters. Nevertheless, the Earth puts the brakes on the air. Therefore, the Prince of Discs is slow in following and developing his plans and ideas, yet he is steady and unwavering, and once on his path, he is going forward towards his goal. The Prince of Discs can seem a bit cold in his emotions sometimes, yet he values his comfort and beauty. He is patient and tolerant, but once in rage, he hardly forgives. On the shadow side, the Prince of Discs can get stubborn and ignorant, overly piqued on anything not belonging to his related surrounding, and phlegmatic up to total stagnation. The Prince of Discs has an unfailing determination to reach his goals, achieve his ambitions, and create a world he is comfortable to live in. He has an interesting way of doing this. He takes every task a stage at a time. Whilst keeping the end aim in mind, he diligently attends to the task in hand, completing it satisfactorily, and then moving on smoothly to the next logical stage. This method of working has numerous advantages. There's the satisfaction of completing something, even though you might still be aware that this particular piece of work is just one step in the journey. Another plus is that work unfolds in a productive stream, each process deriving from the last. This often allows you to pick up any detail you may have overlooked or missed. Also, there is a consistent sense of progress, a feeling that you are drawing closer to your goals. Every single achievement is composed of many small acts which add together to create the whole. The Prince of Discs is a fertile and abundant card. It signifies the planting of seeds which will grow into great big trees. The tree would not exist without the seed, which was planted in the very first place. The drive of this card is solidity, increased material, and growth. The light is unwavering, industrious, enduring, reliable, practical, reasonable, and careful. The shadow is stubbornness, corruption, avarice, phlegma, dullness, and coldness. The keywords are Earth's airy aspect, structure, high energy and material matter, unshakable caution, meditation, physical activity, and steadiness. The advice is it is time for action. As you do so, you will gain important experience. So if you have not been taking action towards your goals, this week you actually do want to start taking action, even if it's just one small thing at a time. The questions you may want to ask this week are, what activities do you enjoy, and what activities can help your self-realization? And the suggestion is to find a creative physical activity in which you will find joy and fulfillment. The revelation is, I find a job that I can accomplish myself, and that satisfies me. And the affirmation is, I now locate my goals and work towards them with great energy. All right, I love that. So I will be answering the 2 questions from this card tomorrow. I will probably use my self-care deck to answer those questions so I can give you actual activities that are suggested for you if you are in this collective. And then, of course, I'll be answering the questions for the Ace of Wands. Again, that's at passes.com/pearlsprayers. You can follow me for free, and there is content available for free. But if you subscribe, you will have access to everything on the wall. Plus, you can DM me directly. I do answer questions with tarot cards in those DMs. If you did not know that, I do. I will draw 1 card when you send me a question in the DMs, which really entitles you to 15. If you use the DMs, the free DMs, you can ask basically 15 questions and I would pull cards for you over the course of the month. So please keep that in mind. If you're somebody that wants, you're kind of in a situation and you just want someone to pull a card, give you some clarity, I will do that. I respond, I type back or send a video back to you. I'm more than happy to do that. I used to do that on lives, and I'm absolutely happy to do that for the people that support my channel over at passes.com. I would love to get to 100 subscribers. That is my first goal. So you can be one of those subscribers and help me reach that goal. The first month, of course, is free. I think it's either 2 weeks or the first. I think it's the whole first month is free. And then after that, you can choose if you want to remain a member or not. But thank you so very much for being here with me today. I do look forward to seeing you on Friday for the Friday love reading. I do sometimes post spontaneously on Wednesday or Thursday, so I may do a reading on those days, but for sure you'll see me on Friday. And of course, don't forget if you click the live tab on this YouTube channel, and the video tab, you will see hundreds, literally over 750 videos, all ranging from, I think, 10 minutes to 120 minutes. So there's plenty of content here on this channel for you if you get lonely or need me or, whatever. But thank you. I will see you all very soon. Take care.